Jim, you can edit some of this out, but because we're talking a lot about golf, but Dwight, the moment when Dwight picked up one of John's golf clubs and says, "John, Dunlop doesn't even make golf clubs anymore. Like, what are you hitting out here?"
Welcome to My Gotta Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I are joined by our friends John Smith and Hunter Jones. We get caught up on what's been going on in the offseason, and as you'd expect when we get this crew together, it goes off the rails. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, if you need help with your website or your online presence, head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs. Now, let's join the conversation in progress.
Start us in, Jim. How do you start this show?
What do I do?
I mean, all I hear are cold opens every time I listen. So, is there actually like an intro to the show?
The best,
I'm going to record it later.
The best was that I think the first time we recorded, which like hey John, do you want to do a podcast like the week of the game? Like it was literally like we just hit record and started talking for a while, and then I think we like picked a point where I think that was where we started. So
Perfect.
I don't know, it's not too much different than that. So if you're listening and you've made it through the cold open and that banter, this is the crew episode. We've got John Smith, John Tweet Sports, Hunter Jones with us, picking it back up in the off season. I was looking, we didn't do quite as long of a hiatus as last year. Last year we went from like April or May to like August. So this is like our second episode already of this summer. So I think we're having pretty good. But John, Hunter, welcome as always.
Welcome, boys. Welcome to the crew.
I am thrilled to be here. Hunter Jones, hoping that he can stay awake because little True Man has entered his mobility stage, and Hunter just chases him around all day. Is what I hear. But good to see all of your accurate. Yeah,
it's all downhill from there as soon as they get mobile. The good news is you're still in zone coverage.
That's right. Yeah.
Hunter, there's going to be a time in your life, okay? I have two teenagers. There's going to be a time in your life when you'll think to yourself, man, I spent all that time just wanting them to walk and talk, and now I just want them to sit down and shut up. It's just going to be amazing when you get to that place. So enjoy
it. We've got our second going for a driver's license tomorrow. So two mobile, very, very mobile teenagers. So it's wild. It goes by fast. Enjoy it, Hunter. Enjoy it.
What's that saying? The days go by slow, but the years go by fast.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. Words of wisdom.
Somebody told me that today at work. I can't take credit for it.
Which on that, Hunter, we do have we got new job going on.
We do. I'm now the assistant principal at St. Martin High School. It's a 7A high school, highest classification in Mississippi. It's actually my alma mater, Ocean Springs, where Megan is the cheer coach and where she teaches, and where I used to teach. It's their biggest rival. If we're reckoning it in Georgia terms, if Ocean Springs is Georgia, St. Martin's Georgia Tech, and they are actually the Yellow Jackets as a mascot as well. So,
yeah, it's been a hard pill to swallow for me to see the new school gear, but that's okay. We can live with it.
Yeah, agreed. Don't need the bumblebee in the.
Just don't take it. Yeah, just don't take it personally, Hunter. When you send pictures of yourself in the Yellow Jacket school gear to the text thread, and I either don't respond or thumbs down or whatever. Just it's not you. It's that stuff you're wearing. But
let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and just say that we're all going to thumbs down it, but he's going to know what it means.
I can handle that. I can take that.
Nice. So what do we need to be thinking about? We're pretty good ways through the off season. We're at what, under 40, 43, 44 days, right, from kick?
We as of the time of this recording, Jim, we're at 40 days until Georgia kicks off. So when people listen to this, we will be under 40 days. depending on when they listen. But it's coming on fast, boys. And here's my only question to the group, okay, is are we going to lose to anyone else besides Texas and Alabama? Because I've been told that like those are guaranteed losses.
Right. Right.
You know, I
We're
feel
going
like
we're going 7-5 according to some media pundits.
Yeah.
yeah, I might be one of those media pundits, but um, send it just send it to Kirby, print it out, 7-5. Um, no, we are coming on fast, and I'm excited to chat to talk some ball, and I'm also, you know, I think for me, like this feels like the first off season where Georgia's, you know, I mean, people are going to get pissed that listen to this, that if you're not a Georgia fan, or if you are a Georgia fan and you know, and you haven't been tuning in and paying attention, but this, I mean, I do feel like Georgia is actually being doubted. I know the media members picked them to finish second, whatever, but like when you hear people talk about Georgia, this is the first offseason I can remember in a while where you hear people talk about Georgia with kind of that like little bit of a leaning back instead of leaning forward, and a little bit of like more questions than answers, right? And it's interesting. It's interesting to hear. It's interesting to hear and to see for sure.
My working theory on that is that I feel like that we're at a period in the SEC right now where there's just so many questions at quarterback across the conference that it feels like that we're being doubted so heavily because of the question marks that we have at quarterback, but the other teams that also have the same questions, like for example, Alabama, even Texas to a certain degree, like there's there's not a whole lot of data points out there for a lot of the incoming starting quarterbacks. So like, do you think that has something to do with it?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think for sure. I think what's happening right now is I think Gunnar Stockton. I think two things. One, the run game being so bad last year,
Yeah.
the worst run game production for Georgia in 20 years, being so bad. And then, yeah, I mean, 102nd in the country. Like, we can go ahead and say it again. It's like insanely bad. With the run game being so bad, and Gunnar Stockton, you know, only starting because Carson Beck got hurt, and now he's being thrust. You know, I mean, let's just be real. Like, he's being thrust into he was thrust into last year. Couldn't win the playoff game, even though I don't think that was on him, but he's being thrust into the situation versus some of these other guys, right? Are the natural, like they're the natural successor. And I think Gunnar Stockton likely would have been the natural successor anyway, but because of the way that he has become QB1, I think there's a lot of doubt there. But because when you look at guys like Arch Manning is a good example, right? Like he was going to be the successor to Quinn Ewers no matter what. Austin Simmons was going to be the successor at Ole Miss, was going to be the successor to Jackson Dart. Like all these guys were the guy. Like the people were talking about them last year when they would come in the game as like the next QB1 of their team, and people weren't talking about Gunnar Stockton that way. And I think you put those two together, and that's the issue. That's where the doubt's coming from. But I think most of the doubt, honestly, is even less about the quarterback. I mean, some of these quarterbacks are getting benefited out. Austin Simmons getting benefited out. Arch Manning clearly getting benefited out. Even, you know, guys like Marcel Reed getting the benefit of the doubt. He started a few games for Texas A&M last year, but like that was a guy that wasn't QB1 at Texas A&M for most of the season last year. Those guys are getting the benefit of the doubt, and Gunnar Stockton isn't. And I think part of that is just because of how god awful Georgia was at running the football last year.
Can that be remedied this year? And do we put it more on the running back room last year versus John's friend Stacey Searles?
I mean, it's the offensive line for me. Like I need a little bit more from the offensive line, but it's hard not to look at the depth issues that we've had over the last couple of seasons with guys like Robinson, Roger Robinson that are getting hurt. And,
Mhm.
you hear all this hype in the preseason and then they get hurt. And it's like, it just hasn't really panned out. It's like the worst case scenario of like having Sonny Michelle and Keith Marshall on your roster and they both get hurt. You know what I mean? Like imagine if Sonny got hurt when Keith Marshall got hurt.
Right.
Yeah. I know I'm talking way too much, so y'all please like jump in. But I'll just say like I'll say for me,
Hunter may be asleep. I'm not sure.
yeah. Hunter, come on. We need your opinion, Hunter. I'll give you one last nugget on this. I think from what I know about football and from talking with some folks who are close to the program, Georgia's screen game last year was trying to be the solution for the run game. And the reason people, Mike Bobo, another screen. The reason they did that a lot was to protect the running backs because you had that room was beat up. Even Trevor Etienne, I mean, he was injured a lot last year. And even some games where he was playing, he wasn't, he was 75, 80%. And so I think, Georgia fans look at that as like, oh, another screen. In reality, it's like, no, that's a running play. That's our version of handing the ball off this year because of the injuries in the running back room. It's like get the ball out quickly, get it out to a skill player that's not a running back, and protect those guys a little bit to try to get some longevity into the season. So that was the bigger issue. I haven't done any. We can get our buddy Dog Stats to do this. If you look at throws behind the line of scrimmage, if you factor in all those, how many attempts were they? What was the yard per completion for those screens? And you put that into the running game, it's probably not as bad. If you say that's a run play, it's probably not as bad as 102nd in the country. But that's it. It was what it was.
Yeah, on paper, that's how it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like all the lateral throws to Dominic Lovett, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he dropped.
I saw an article. I can't remember if I saw an article or a video or something. Like I said, I haven't been really in the football sphere with the whole job thing going on and Truett and everything. So, but I saw an article recently where they were talking about how Gunnar Stockton's not getting all this hype, and they put it on. I think we're kind of alluding to it here. If you're the quarterback at Georgia with Kirby Smart as your head coach, it's going to be more about the other 10 guys out there than just the quarterback. And when those other 10 guys aren't up to what they need to be, it's going to show more on the quarterback, but it's not all on the quarterback. And they used it to make a point about Todd Monken and how what made him so good was that even though it was supposed to be, they said they put the offense in a box, he figured out how to do what Kirby wanted in that box, but still be creative and make it work with a quarterback who was a unknown. I mean, Stetson Bennett, and they were saying everybody dogs on Bobo, but basically Kirby's going to do what Kirby wants to do, and it's not going to be about the quarterback. It's going to be about the other guys on the field.
I saw an eye roll.
I roll my eyes a little bit because I agree to a certain point. But Todd Monken also had Brock Bowers. He had Darnell Washington. He had Kenny McIntosh. He had James Cook. He had
that's the point
Marcus Rosemary-Jackson blocking. He had Lab McConkey. He had all those guys. But people say, well, it's about the other guys. Kirby's going to control. The quarterback situation. Kirby's going to control. No, like Todd Monken literally had all these weapons, and so at the end of the day, Stetson Bennett, incredible. There were times like that Ohio State Peach Bowl where the guy just literally put the team. He's like, we're not losing this game.
Alabama fourth quarter.
Yeah, Alabama national championship fourth quarter. That kid was a gamer. But at the same time, I mean, it's like when you got all those guys lined up, it takes so much pressure off of the quarterback. And so I think sometimes Kirby, when people say, well, Kirby controls this or Kirby, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, Kirby Kirby's job is to make sure that the team is in the best position to win. And when you don't have like all of those weapons, he probably does, kind of over optimize to try to make it as easy on the quarterback as possible so he doesn't have to do as much. And I think we saw that last year. And what happened was, when Carson Beck decided to do whatever he was doing last year, the Ole Miss game, and it's like Alabama, and I know some of that wasn't on him, some of that was receivers, dropping the ball or whatever. But like when your quarterback is throwing 11 interceptions in 5 games or whatever, it's like, dude, like, okay, cool. Like you're, there's only so much you can do. You're trying to make it easy for him. You're trying to do stuff, and it's just not executing. And that's, I think last year, I think that's where it really goes wrong. And that's where people really get spun up.
Do you think when you talk about last year and like the things that we didn't accomplish that we wanted to accomplish and expected to accomplish, like, you're talking about the tools and assets that quarterbacks have to make it easier on them. Like, let's not forget that not only did Stetson and Todd Monken have Brock Bowers and Lad McConkey and Kenny McIntosh and all those guys, but he also had Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis behind them. Like, it's hard not to look at the defensive side of the ball as impacting things as well. I mean, look at the game against Notre Dame where I felt that Gunner did everything that he needed to do, and our defense just didn't show up to stop them when we needed them to stop an offense that really wasn't doing anything super special. So yeah, we have all these weapons on offense, but it's hard not to remember that we also had like an all-world defense on those years, and you got to look to the defense to stop what the offense is doing, and that relieves a lot of pressure on the quarterback too.
Yeah, I mean, last year's team, I think it was a couple of things, and I guess what's interesting to me is some of the commentary Kirby kind of opened with at SEC Media Days this year, like talking about how deep and like last year's team was, and like how this year's team is so much younger, and all these things. I thought that was kind of, I don't know. I guess you could like statistically say so or whatever, but I thought that was, I don't know, kind of like Kirby talk. I felt like, um, but again, like back to the quarterback room, like John Smith, we talked about last year, like you talking about like the Carson Beck looking at the sideline saying, "What are we doing in the SEC
Yeah.
championship game?" Right, and like
Yeah.
when was that going to change, and when were we going to see him take on the leadership role like we saw Stetson, like Stetson. Bama, has the ball after we took the lead in that championship game, and he's going down the sideline like, one, uh, one drive to win the game. Like they're going to score one drive to win the game. I never saw that from Carson. Like I saw more of that in Gunnar Stockton running over the guy from Texas in the SEC championship game, in the entire sideline, just like jumping up, and supporting him. I saw more out of him in 2 games than I mean, not to pour mouth. You could certainly say, Jim, you're saying that because he transferred, and maybe I am, but whatever. But like, I saw more out of Gunner in 2 games than I saw out of Carson Beck in 2 seasons.
Yeah, the only time I saw it out of Carson Beck was when Georgia, I don't know if we were down or if we were tied with Tennessee, but Carson Beck, yeah, he made that run and he got hit.
Yeah,
made
that's
that
fair.
run to get on 3rd down to get a first down, and he got up and he did like the
Yeah.
the throat slash, like,
Yeah.
whatever thing. And did the
Slime, they
first
call
down.
it.
Yeah, and did the first down, thing. And then he proceeded to just pick Tennessee apart, and Georgia won by double digits. But that was the only time. And I think that was my concern going into last year. And I said it in the offseason last year, was in the SC championship game, when Georgia ran a play that everybody blaming Bobo, and I just watched Carson Beck, the camera goes right on his face, he's walking off the field and he says, "What the F are we doing?" And he's shaking his head. And I'm like, that body language right there is like,
yeah.
Dude, like that is not a quarterback that is like,
dialed
that
in.
is not a starting quarterback. Stetson Bennett. I mean, we heard it from Kirby, we heard it from Monken, where they said like he's a competitor. He's not easy to coach. Like you saw it. If you go back and find Michigan in the college football playoff in 2021 when Kirby was trying to get a field goal or something at the end of the half, George blowing out Michigan and Stetson Bennett, like something happens and the time management wasn't good. Kirby comes out, he's clapping his hands, his face is blood red, and he's like yelling. He's right in Stetson's ear, and Stetson's like pointing at the scoreboard, arguing right back, like giving it right back to him. And like that for me was like, okay, listen, like it's big boy football, and at the end of the day, it is, yes, the coaches, it's like the respect of the coaches and whatever, but like you got to be confident enough in yourself and in your game that if something's going wrong, that you're like communication between players and coaches is so important. It's like, dude, no, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm doing. This is why I did that. This is what, like, it can't be shaking my head, looking down the ground. What the F are we doing? And then we saw it show up last year with Carson Beck, like when things got tough, and I mean, kudos to him for the way that they fought back um, against Alabama, like the way, I mean, he had some moments for sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it really,
what might have
for
been.
me, yeah, it really for me was just, it was pretty clear that he and I'm sitting here poor mouthing too, but it's just pretty clear that like you didn't have that chutzpah, you didn't have that, and again, you don't have to be a rah-rah guy, you don't have to be the guy that's over there, Stetson Bennett wasn't that, he wasn't the guy that's over there, all the time, like, dapping people up and getting everybody up. But in those moments, we saw it with Jake Fromm, we saw it with I mean, shoot, we even saw it with JT Daniels, like when in 2020, when he came in and, started the rest of the season. It's like in that Peach Bowl when Georgia came back and won it with a field goal at the end. Like we've seen it with guys where it's just like, all right, cool. Like I'm the quarterback of this team and I'm taking control. And we just didn't see it last year. So I think Gunnar has that. I think Gunnar has that in spades. And I think a lot of people are going to be very pleasantly surprised. A lot of Georgia fans pleasantly surprised at what Gunnar is going to bring to this team for sure.
I agree. He's also from Georgia, John. So let's not forget that.
That's true.
Them Georgia boys.
Very important. Very important.
It's a very important statistic that you be from the state of Georgia as a Georgia quarterback.
And he's like the first one, and well, I guess Stetson, but yeah.
Well, Stetson, Jake Fromm, DJ Shockley.
Yours is the natty. We got Buck Bellew.
And Buck Bellew, yep.
Buck Bellew.
We never won a national championship without a quarterback from the state of Georgia.
Yeah. Although I think when we talked about that for the Hastings-Hargrett history, he was like, well, technically we didn't really have a quarterback, kind of, sort of, back in the 40s. Whatever.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah. Jason, shut up.
Which, by the way, maybe, John, you actually had a Hastings-Hargrett in person.
We did. We hit the Hastings-Hargrett history live and in person. He has a road show going on right now, which I believe he's got some more stops along the way and some of the further reaches. But he happened to hit up Cobb County here in Marietta. John, I'm a little disappointed I didn't see you there, but literally could have probably walked there. But
I literally could have. When I saw your pictures, I was like, why didn't I just walk over there? Because I walk right by that library probably 3 times a week when I go and walk a few miles around the.
Yeah, because it's right across from the graveyard or the cemetery.
Yeah.
It actually came up. I was actually laughing to Jason that he set up shop right near where the Cobb County genealogy library is, right across the street. You could see it through the window, the cemetery across the way, which is kind of funny. But yeah, he had a lot of artifacts there. Some things that I hadn't seen before. Let's see some of the highlights that I saw. Jim, remind me of the tennis player that I sent you guys, the polo.
Oh yeah.
Epic, like, what was it, 80s?
Yes.
Was it 80s or 90s?
Michael Pernforce. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean he went, like, he was on the pro tour and everything after Georgia.
Yeah. But great polo designs from that era of UGA tennis. I thought was pretty cool. They also had a logo from 1911 on like a banner that I guess that you'd like pin up at a student dorm. They had some championship rings for gymnastics, which my daughter was very interested in. She was like, "What are those?" Let's see. Other cool things that they had there that I recall were they had if you remember UGA 2, they had the collar from UGA 2 that has like all the big spikes.
Nice.
I thought that was really cool. Had some original tickets there. Had a leather helmet, but not like the OG leather helmet. Um, had some ticket stubs where my kids were kind of flabbergasted at how much it cost to go to the games at one point. So yeah, it was a good little time. I think he said that he had a pretty good turnout there, it sounded like. And so he said that what he's found is that he has a lot of repeat folks that have come
Mhm.
out in the years prior. So if you haven't been to a stop, it's worth coming in, shaking hands with Jason. Jason is great. He'll explain everything to you
Hmm.
if you want him to, or you can just pop in. There were some double dogs that were there with us. We got to talking, and there was a couple other alumni that were there, and so it's a good little way to take a look at some of the UGA's sporting history and hopefully parlay that into coming in and checking out things live and in person. You can actually go online and look at some of the artifacts that Jason has, and you can kind of schedule a time and literally go in and see them.
Yeah.
Some of the things that he had that my kids were interested in were the gloves from Keeley's, or Sonny Michelle's gloves, Keeley Ringo's armbands from the national championship. I think they had a Kirby visor that the kids were asking about. But yeah, I took my girls to go and check out the Hargett Library at Switzer Library in Marietta. So it was good. It was a good time. Thanks a lot, Jason, as always, for what you do for the university.
Yeah, for sure. I know when I may have mentioned this in the last time we talked, but just in case, we did a campus tour with Lily back in the spring, and I reached out to Jason and made a Hargett Library stop, and that was her favorite part of the tour, which wasn't on the official tour. So the extra tour with Jason was her favorite part. So it was pretty sweet.
An underutilized asset at the University of Georgia is Jason Hasty.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, and then you guys had a golf outing recently, like some in person time.
We
We
did.
did. We did. You want
Before we
you
get into this, I know Hunter Jones uh chases a little white ball around every now and then. I know Jim is recently playing golf. Where's everyone's golf game at this point? Like what's the status?
So I've been trying to get better. I think my round that I played this past weekend perfectly sums up my golf game. So I like my goal, like I was working to be able to break 100, so I can do that now. So now goal is break 90. I have not yet broken 90. I played Saturday. I shot a 40 on the front, so that's my best 9 holes I've ever played. Did
Mm.
I? One would think I would then follow that say, and I achieved my goal of breaking 90 for the first time. I did not. I shot a 52 on the back. I closed out 17 and 18. I triple bogeyed both. It was like a horrible finish. I'm
Oh,
blaming the heat. It was so hot out.
Mhm.
That's what I'm gonna say. I'm sticking to it. But so that's
you
kind of
threw
my
an
game.
interception on the goal line, Jim.
Yeah. So like I am capable of hitting good shots. I'm not consistent. That's kind of my golf game.
Yeah,
Mm.
I would say that's exactly my golf game too. Can y'all hear me? I'm sorry, one of my
Yeah. Yeah.
headphones just died. So,
Oh, we gotcha.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, we can do.
inconsistency is it kills me. It's because I don't play enough. I don't get a chance to go out there as often as I would want to. But I've gotten to the point where, you know, I'm pretty I am pretty consistent with my driver, and I feel like that's like the one that everybody's like, oh,
Mhm.
anybody can go out there and hit the driver, but you make your money with 100 yards and in, and that's, my most inconsistent part is I can have the perfect tee shot. And then it's a 50-50 shot if I'm going to duff it or if I'm going to hit it exactly where I want to hit it. Um, and then I've gotten a lot better with putting. What used to kill me is putting. I could be on the green in two and then 3, 4 putt. So
Mhm.
I've gotten better in that regard, but it's right now for me, it's the second shot. Um, if I can get it, um, you know, chipping. I wouldn't say that I really chip anymore. I've kind of got a little in between bump and run that I play that I feel pretty comfortable doing, but it's that second shot after the tee shot where especially on like a long par five where like I've got to pull something else out and hit it another 150 plus yards.
Yeah.
I might do it, or I might hit it a yard in front of me.
That's the worst. That's the
I love it.
worst.
Yeah, well, John Powell and I we had a golf outing with our buddy Dwight. Shout out Dwight for the invite. Went up to Royal Lakes
Yes.
Country
Thank you,
Club in
sir.
Flowery Branch. It was nice. Our tee time was at 1 p.m. and it was about the temperature of hell's front porch in Atlanta in July. And my mistake was I had played Friday, and then I had gone to the driving range on Saturday, and I've just recently really gotten back into golf, trying to get my swing back. And Sunday out, it was hot, and John Powell had me drinking old fashions before we even got out on the course, and so
You ordered.
JB is trying to get me drunk. But yeah, we had a great time. I didn't hit it very well. Hit a few shots that, you hit enough shots that makes you, come back. But
Exactly.
had a really good time for sure.
Yeah, it was a good time for sure. I think Dwight had some choice commentary of how amazing the course was. It was effed up, I believe.
Yeah, he said this.
exact.
He said this. This is a really effed up course. You guys are going to be pulling your hair out. So that was the introduction to the course, and it was the second hole was basically a par five with like a very thin landing strip fairway, and on the left side it's like trees. On the right side it's a big hill with houses, and so you had about like, I don't know, 250 yards of that. And then you had about 100 yards of water to like this like little small green. And so it was like, the second hole was just straight, you drop in it. Third hole, water all to the right, little thin fairway, and then trees, to the left. And what I love is Dwight kept saying, yeah, after this hole, there's not any more water. There's water like on every freaking hole. So
It became the running joke.
yeah, literally, it's like after this one, and then you get to 18, the last hole, and there's like a thin fairway, and there's water all to the left, and then you had to hit over water. I was like, all right, even the last hole, there's water. So,
So I have a question. I haven't played enough courses up there to know, but I feel like, because my father-in-law is a really big golfer and he goes all the time. Whenever I've been with him, we always go play courses like up around the Alpharetta area, or even up further up north. And there's not a lot of water on the courses that we play, but down here, every single course has a lot of water. Like most of the courses down here are actually like themed around like the marsh and the bayou, so you're dealing with
you're in
a
the
water
swamp
hazard
down
on
there.
every hole. Yeah.
yeah, there's most courses that I play on, at least there's always a couple of holes of water, but there's not much water. This I mean, the in the course's defense, I'm defending the course here, it was Royal Lakes plural country club. It's like it should have known. It's like, okay, Royal Lakes sounds like water.
Yeah.
No, we had a great time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
While we're on the subject of golf, how many of y'all got the tradition of getting denied your master's tickets today?
So I
Yeah.
haven't gotten an email yet, which I don't know if that's good or bad.
I didn't get an email. Andrew Carraway texted me his screenshot of his denial, and I was like, I got excited for a second because I hadn't got an email yet. And I was like, oh crap, like let me, I haven't gotten the no, so maybe I'm getting the yes. And then I went in my account and it was like, no, sorry, your application didn't
I need to
any.
log in. That's
Yeah,
what
so
I
you
need
can
to do.
just log in. So yeah. It's
Well,
it's a tradition like no other.
Yeah.
That
Well, I got the yes, so
Oh,
I didn't. I wasn't. I should have
mic
just said
drop.
I got the no, but I actually got lucky. So
Atta
we're
boy.
all collectively hating you right now. I just want you to know that.
I'm happy for him because
I mean, I'm happy for him.
if
for
you've
sure.
won the lottery, if you've won the lottery, which I have,
Yeah,
You
same
know that
here.
feeling.
That
Good
feeling.
feeling. Yeah, I've been before. This is the first time I've ever actually gotten approved for tickets, but I've been before with
I've never won the
with
lottery. I've
friends.
been, but I've never won the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive.
Good times. I mean, it only took like 8 years in a row of
It feels
denies.
it feels shallow for comparison because a lot of folks are like, it's taken me 30 years. I've never gotten it. Yeah, my golf game is it's there. It's there. I think to quote Jim, like just try to play with the same ball the whole time kind of thing. I
Yeah, I mean,
realized playing golf with John and Dwight and was it Brandon that we played
Brandon,
with?
y'all.
Who by the way absolutely blew the doors off that
No,
course.
Brandon shot a 71. Like we're out there, like like we're trying to break 100, and Brandon's out there shooting 71. So
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've realized that I have an equipment issue.
Mm.
So I picked up a secondhand set of clubs. They were not great. Dunlop does not make any more golf clubs. So I've got to
JP,
upgrade. I'm
I
gonna
gotta say this,
upgrade. I'm
Jim.
gonna
Yeah,
upgrade
Jim, you can edit some of this out, but because we're talking a lot about golf, but Dwight, the moment when Dwight picked up one of John's golf clubs and says, "John, Dunlop doesn't even make golf clubs anymore. Like, what are you hitting out here?" That was a great moment.
That's too
I
good.
like hitting the driver. I can chip. I can putt.
Mhm.
I like hitting my wood, but the woods fairway game. But irons, I struggle with
Well,
irons.
there was one time that I appreciated that JP brought a 4 iron and a 9 iron to the tee. Like, I mean, let's just we're gonna bring a 4 iron and a 9 iron and just see what happens. Like, what are we gonna play here? That's a big.
Just grab something and go, man.
I love it. I
uh,
love it.
Hey, as long as it
Absolutely.
goes forward.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
No shame.
Seriously.
that's amazing. I know. I kind of like the golf episode of My God Podcast.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Well, one quick shout out, and then we can move on from golf to Bulldogs battling breast cancer. I played in the Bulldogs battling breast cancer charity scramble at the Georgia Club with some of the Georgia players. I was paired with Drew Bobo. Shout out to Drew, starting center of your Georgia Bulldogs, and Rodeo and Don, who are Morris Hall tailgate legends. That was our team, and had a great time out there. Shout out to Bulldogs battling breast cancer, Dwight, Jay, and Teresa Abbott. All the folks who are involved in that. It was incredible. Also, shout out, Austin Chambers and player personnel folks who got the players there. It was a really fantastic day. 2 o'clock tea time, which again, front porch of Hades. But
That was your fourth day of golf, though.
fourth day in a row
You're
of
playing a
golf.
tournament.
Yeah, fourth day in a row of golf. And I think what was great about that tournament is I was like, man, 2 o'clock, and our buddy Dwight said, when the players are coming, our tea time is whenever Kirby Smart says our tea time is.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
I feel like
Good times.
that's some like conditioning magic there. Kirby's trying to get him to deal with
Well,
the heat a little bit.
they had all done they'd all had a workout that morning and had done they had done max on power cleans, I believe. That's what they were saying. So they had already been lifting weights and running and all that stuff, earlier in the day, and then came and played around the golf in the heat. So
Okay.
God bless them.
to be 18 to 22 again.
Yeah, seriously. All right, I'm gonna pull us back towards football, but we're not gonna quite be there yet. Almost. John, tell us about what you got going on with Bulldog Bourbon Social Club.
Bulldog Bourbon Social Club. So we've had this kind of loose idea and community of the Bulldog Bourbon Social Club for the last couple of years. It's mostly been at tailgates and on the social medias, but we're launching what I consider the official launch of the Bulldog Bourbon Social Club this week. So we're going to have our own little community site. Some great, fantastic updated merch, flasks, some like thermal skinny can koozies for your high noons and those types of things, and then a little 8 ounce or 12 ounce tumbler, like Yeti tumbler with a lid for your tailgate sipping, along with the Bulldog Bourbon Social Club hats. And the whole idea of this is we're going to have a space where we can have, things like virtual and in-person meetups. We can, kind of connect with other members of the club. We can talk about Georgia sports. We can talk about tailgating, bourbon, whatever you want to talk about. But merch and all of that stuff, proceeds go to Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer. So we're partnering with a nonprofit. It's, something that I think is really, it's a fun idea that we've had for a while. And shout out to all the folks who have been supporters. We're excited to get that launched this week. And then we also have some fun giveaways and things that we're going to do throughout this season. Some things where we sponsored sponsored golf flags at some of the Bulldog Battling Breast Cancer charity golf events, and we have those flags framed and signed by players. And so those kind of things will be things we'll be giving away to folks who are members. So
Nice.
go follow at Dog Social Club. You'll see it. If you follow any of us on Twitter, you'll probably see tweets and posts about it this week. But DAWG socialclub.com. Going to be a good time.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I enjoy wearing my hat. I already had the hat. Now I'll have the side to go to as well.
I got to get Hunter Jones the hat. I think I've told Hunter, I promise it's going to be in the mail. I think I've probably on number 4 of telling him that. So we'll get you a hat.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to let it ride.
Well, Hunter, for what it's worth, I was at his front door and I was like, "Hey, did you have one of those hats?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
I said, I got in the car with him before we went to play golf. I was like, I'll get you a hat when we get back to the house. We get back to the house, I unload all my stuff. I was like, man, I had a great time. He's like, hey, do you have one of those hats? I was like, oh yeah. Still almost forgot it. But we'll get you a hat, Hunter, and we'll get you a tumbler, because I know you like the little Yeti style tumbler stuff. So we'll get you one out there too.
Looking forward to bringing that thing to the tailgate.
It's gonna be a good time. Yeah, good time
for sure. All right, we can go back. We can go full football. Hunter, you've been like me and have been kind of a little like out. What is your what's your question of like what is it that you like getting back into the swing of things? Ooh, I can't get over to the golf stuff. Getting back into that, like what is it that you're wondering? What do you feel like you need to get caught up
on?
How are the vibes?
I need to get caught up on everything, but the big thing that I want to see this year is, are we going to be able to run the football? Because I feel like everything just kind of stems out from that, and that's something that's been a staple of all the great Georgia football teams that we've seen here recently, especially is they all can pretty consistently impose their will and run the football on the other team, and we weren't able to do that last year. And so that's the thing I'm going to be looking for. But as far as the vibes, I don't know who said the vibes. I'm ready to get back into the routine of college football being on Saturdays and getting up to Athens. It's gonna be a little tougher this year though, now that I've got Friday night obligations working at a high school. But I'm gonna be there for Texas, Alabama, and Ole Miss for sure. So
and you've got a toddler in tow as well.
That's right. Truett's gonna make his Athens debut this year. He's a little older. Y'all just wait till you see him. He is like the star of the show wherever he goes. He's definitely got his mom's personality, not mine.
Have I told you how much Ella loves Truett? Like Ella, like he is like the baby. Like so, the other day I was like, you had sent me a picture, and I was showing it to Ella, and she's like freaking out, and like Kim was like, what are you guys looking at? And she was like, it's Truett, Mom. She's like.
Greg's gonna have some competition for the mayor of Athens when Truett's in town.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to is, just getting back up there. Cause I mean, I think I went to two games last year and, we've got the season tickets and two out of, that's not a lot to get up there, but it was really hard with him being little. And now that he's bigger, getting into a better routine, we're going to be up there a lot more. So I'm looking forward to just the whole atmosphere and seeing everybody and being back on campus.
So when's the first game? Because we all have to I mean, screw you. We need to see Truett.
I'm thinking the first time we're going to bring him is probably going to be Labor Day, just because we
Ooh.
both have we both have off of school on the following Monday, so Labor Day weekend, and I actually have Tuesday off too. So it's going to be hot. He's not going to really go to the game, but we'll bring him around the tailgate, and then he'll probably go with Grandma and Mom because I don't think Mom's going to be very interested in going into the Porch of Hades game against. I don't even know who the first game's against.
Marshall.
That's how far out.
Marshall.
Yeah, yeah, she's not going to go to the game, and Truett's not going to go to. But we'll be at the tailgates, I think.
Okay. Okay. I plan to be there for Marshall. That's I'll be there for most games. Not sure about Austin P. Actually moving L back into school that week, but generally should be there. We'll look forward to that. Get to meet the true man. I think JP is frozen again. Internet issues have struck again.
Love it.
I don't know. I guess I feel like we can feel a little bit better about the run game with that offensive line, considering John that you were paired up with Drew Bobo in your foursome. So like I feel like as far as omens go, I feel like we got some pretty good omens going on.
It's a good omen. It's a good omen. I can tell you, it's yeah. The players are very excited. The offensive line is very excited to prove a point this year. I don't think any of them would attribute anything that happened last year to coaching of the offensive line. For what's worth, I'll just say that.
Yeah,
I think it was definitely a little bit of a personnel issue and a little bit of it's at some point when you're running backs. I just looked. It was funny going into the Tennessee game. We had Trevor Etienne, Branson Robinson, Roderick Robinson, and Cash Jones all on the injury report. Yeah. So I mean, when you literally, it's Nate Frazier and then freshman, right? So it's Chauncey Bowens and Dwight Phillips Jr. is and so I think last year there was a lot that was attributed to just literally trying to protect the health at running back that caused them to have to do things that they probably wouldn't have otherwise had to do. And so I think from my conversations, I just think vibes are high. I think this team is very much looking forward to proving a point of running the football, and hopefully we'll have a little bit better luck with help in that running back room this year.
Is there a newcomer that we should be excited about in the running back room? I guess who of the newcomers maybe should we be watching for the most?
We'll see. He's not a newcomer because he's been around a little bit, but Dwight Phillips Jr., I'm excited to see how Georgia uses him. But that kid from Illinois, Josh McCray, probably Illinois, but probably was going to be, running back 1 or 2 at Illinois, depending on how they rotate running backs. But that guy is going to be very good. He'll be a little bit of that 1-2 punch with Nate Frazier and Roderick Robinson, as long as he stays healthy. It's that's a 3-headed monster. So Dwight Phillips Jr. is a sleeper pick. Josh McCray, I mean, he was a late transfer. He missed spring, so that's a big deal when it's pass protection and all that stuff when it comes to running back. But yeah, that guy's gonna be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, what about MVP of their bowl game, right? Of Illinois' bowl game.
Yeah, really good.
What about Bo Walker, who I've heard is being described as a cannonball that nobody can tackle?
Yeah, I like Bo a lot. Yeah,
He's got a
Like him a
great
lot.
name. Great name.
Hmm. Yeah. I think yeah, yeah. I, I don't, yeah, I'm not poor mouth than anybody, not poor mouth than anybody. But, I'm hearing a lot of similar. I was very excited about Branson Robinson. I'll say that Branson Robinson was going to be the guy that nobody could tackle. So for me, it's like, all right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's, let's get him on the field and see what we can actually do. Right. There's a lot of times in practice, um, depending on personnel groups, like when you say nobody can tackle, well, are you talking twos, threes? Like who's tackling him? Because it's literally a true freshman. So I doubt he's out there getting run with the ones. Um, so yeah, but I really like Bo Walker a lot.
It would be nice to see two kids from Raven County knocking knocking heads because that's where Bo Walker's from Raven County as well.
Yep. Yep.
I guess so. Earlier we were kind of talking through like the what was I don't know about like what went wrong if that's the right way to say it, but we talked about quarterback, we talked about the running game, but then also just on the defense. JP, you brought up, you know, it wasn't I mean, nothing's probably ever going to be the 21 defense again. But what about on the defensive side of the ball? Like I said, Kirby kind of opened up with this. Like we had so much depth last year, and they were had so much experience last year compared to this year. We're losing a lot of experience, et cetera, et cetera. Um, what are we? I don't know. I guess how are we feeling on the defense being able to? I don't say turn it around, but improve upon last year's showing. I guess what needs to happen for that to be true.
I would love to hear from Hunter and JP on this, but I want to say one thing real quick, Jim. Kirby, he's he did say 54% or 2 year, second year players are younger, all this stuff.
Yeah.
In August of 2024, Kirby Smart said, we had the least amount of depth of players who are ready to play winning football than we've had since I've been here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was a direct quote.
Yeah.
The least amount of depth of players ready that can play, that are ready to play, or capable of playing winning football.
Yeah.
So he was talking about depth issues last year too, for what it's worth.
Fair enough.
But yeah, JP, like, what do you think about the defense? Like, Hunter, what do you think about the defense? What do y'all?
Well, I'll say this, and I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to think back on last year, and it kind of just feels like a fever dream, to be honest with you. But I feel like when things weren't going well defensively, I kept saying to myself, "We can't cover anybody. Like we can't stop the pass. Like when we know it's coming, and they're going to line up and they're going to throw it, it was like they would get it every time. I feel like I found myself thinking that a lot. So I'd like to see, Kirby Smart's kind of like cornerstone as defensive backs, right? It's always been something that we've always had that big guy out there, the big hitter, the guy that could cover everybody. And we just didn't have that last year either. Um, People were getting first downs on us in obvious situations, and it was just like we couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment. I was gonna say, for what it's worth, Hunt, I'm looking at the depth chart here, and I'm looking at the secondary. I feel like this is probably one of the strongest secondaries that we've had in the last couple of years in terms of just overall talent that's out there. I mean, you talk about we got Ellis Robinson, KJ Bolden, Dalen Everett, Daniel Harris, Aguero, who's been, I feel like he's been on the cusp here for a couple of seasons now. He's had some injury issues, but like, you look at some of that secondary, and I think that I feel pretty confident about that. I see guys along the defensive line that, Christian Miller obviously is going to be earmarked to have a good year. Jordan Hall, you've got Jordan Thomas, Elijah Griffin, Xavier McLeod, like all those guys are hopefully going to be. I'm curious to see what we've got behind some of those guys that have been kind of, Warren Brinson and those guys that were kind of have been around for what seemed like 10 years on the
Yeah.
defensive line. And so now we're going to have some fresh meat and some young meat along the defensive line that maybe is going to, make a run for it. You got CJ Allen on linebacker. I think the biggest question for me is probably going to be on the linebacking side of things, which is kind of wild to say. But the linebackers, I think, are questions for me. John, I mean, you probably know a little bit more about that than I do, but I'm looking at the depth chart and I'm not seeing a whole lot that sticks out to me when I'm looking at some of these names, other than maybe a handful.
Well, you've got two, three. I think you have three linebackers in that room that were the number one rated linebacker in the country in their
Right.
recruiting class.
Chris
Um,
Cole. Yep.
yeah, Chris. Yeah, but it's it is a matter of obviously like what can they actually do. I will say this: good call on the linebacker, JP, because I think this linebacking core has so much talent. It's one of the most
So much
talented
talent.
rooms in the
Yeah.
country. But anytime you see Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann go out and get a starting linebacker from the portal with Elo Madozi, the guy, that guy who was a freaking, you know, wrecking one man wrecking crew at Army. Um, anytime you see them go out and get a guy like that to kind of bolster a group, you're like, okay, he's going to be more, probably more like an outside, kind of linebacker position. But that to me was like a big signal. Like, yeah, there's a lot of talent, but they need some experience, and so they went out and got that guy. But I mean, the names for me to watch on linebacker, I think the guy Elo Mendoza, I think is going to be great from Army. I think Quintavious Johnson is going to be a freaking stud. Chris Cole and Justin Williams as well are studs. It's just a matter of um, it's just going to be a matter of rotation, right? So you have enough talent. Do you have enough experience? Can you rotate those guys in and out? Kind of like a little bit of what you did in 2021 with Quay Walker and Channing Tindall and Nakobe Dean and those guys, when you would see sometimes just like all three of them on the field. Sometimes you see one of them and they're with a couple of other younger guys. But I think this defense is going to be one of the stronger ones in the last couple of years. It's not going to be 2021, but I think it has a chance to be. I think this defense has a chance to be the best Georgia defense since 2021,
So
including 2022.
let's talk about we talked about the talent that's on the squad. John, you tweeted out something recently. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was you talking about like the blue chip ratio for
Mm-hmm.
this squad, and it's actually like the deepest blue chip ratio that Kirby has ever had at the University of Georgia.
Yep. Yeah. And Georgia, it's funny because like people are talking about Georgia like Georgia. Kirby mentioned it. Kirby mentioned it, right? It's like Georgia lost. The 54% of these guys are second year or less. But Georgia has the third highest blue chip ratio, which is the ratio of four compared to the rest of your entire team. Only behind Alabama and Ohio State. 84%. 84% of this roster were 4 or 5 star recruits per 24/7 recruiting rankings. And so, Texas, if you look at the SEC, it's Alabama's 89%, Georgia 84%, Texas A&M 82%. Then you have Texas 78%, LSU 73%. I mean, it's Florida 64%, Auburn 64%, Tennessee 54%. I mean, you start looking compared to some of these teams. I mean, the talent is absolutely there, and the thing that's interesting is the positional blue chip ratio is what I always like to look at, because like blue chip, it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's fine, but if Georgia's linebacker room, they're all going to be 4 and 5 stars. Like they're all, it's like, so you're going to have like 8 players that are all 4 and 5 stars basically. And that's literally the case. Georgia, the linebacker position on Georgia's football team is 100% blue chips. But also the edge position on Georgia's team, 100% blue chips. The cornerback position on Georgia's team, 100% blue chips. The defensive line, 80% blue chips. So the talent is all there. The offense, what's going to be interesting is the interior offensive line, 57% blue chips at Georgia. So that, you know,
Yeah.
guard,
That
center
does that
guard.
does not spark joy.
Yeah. But I mean, offensive tackle, 82%, tight ends, 83%, running back, 100%. I mean, but when you look at it, it's like that's the lowest blue chip ratio on the entire Georgia team is interior offensive line. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess that I'll touch on. We've got a little bit of negativity. I'll tell you one thing. One position group that is like Jim like slap me. I don't know if this is the first time I've ever said this. Like I'm really excited about the wide receivers.
Whoa.
So we've got some transfers that are incoming. We've got some guys that have been around for a while. Do we know what's going on with Colby Young? Like, do we know what the situation is there with him?
No, because it was like he's cleared, but not, but the wording was off, right?
Well,
It wasn't like he's cleared to play kind
yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. I think that's a Kirby's 100 at this point. I think it's 100% athletic department and Kirby Smart decision. I think legally, I think the case was dismissed or whatever. And so it's just a matter of like, Kirby's not going to come out and say he's cleared to play. Kirby's not going to come out and say he is playing. My guess, if I had to guess, he'll probably serve some kind of suspension and he'll be back at some
Yeah.
point.
You got that Colby Young, you got Dylan Bell, we got Zachariah Branch coming from USC. I mean, we got Sokovie White, London Humphreys, who we've seen the talent there on some of those guys. We've seen flashes. I'm excited to see what they can put together. And then you got the true freshman, which I guess that one name that is kind of lighting it up for me that Terrence Edwards tweeted out about was CJ Wiley making an impact next year, which kind of like, oh, okay. If we've got a true freshman wide receiver that's going to make an impact next year like that, I'll take that all day long.
Yeah. Well, and then we've got the
And then we got the tight ends.
we got the other Bell, Jeremy Bell, looked good in the spring game. I don't know if that means anything, but the triple threat of Bells on the offense.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
for,
I think
for whom the bells toll.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think folks are talking about a lot of these, Noah Thomas 6'6", 210, Zachariah Branch, and a lot of these guys, but go back and listen to Kirby Smart after spring, and the guy he was praising was London Humphreys, saying he was way beyond expectations. He said stuff like when he came, he wanted to be developed. He wanted to learn this offense. He understands that he can play multiple positions. Like he was raving about London Humphreys. So again, I think this wide receiver room is very talented. I will say per players that I've had conversations with, it's almost unanimous. They felt like Colby Young was probably the best wide receiver on this team last year. And losing him after losing him to suspension for, basically after 4 games for the rest of the season was a big blow to that room. But if you can if Georgia gets him back, even if they don't, but let's just say they get him back. I mean, if you can put a 6'4", 230 guy like Colby Young, line him up out there and then line 6'6", 210 Noah Thomas, and then London Humphreys is, a freaking burner. Zachariah Branch is a freaking burner. You've got, Oscar Delp. You just start creating, you start creating a lot of problems for a defense if you can get those guys. And those are just the guys, still guys. Then you have Dylan Bell that you can line up at multiple positions. Then you got Nate Frazier that can catch it out of the backfield and run with it. I mean, you start creating a lot of problems. So that wide receiver room is very, very good.
And we haven't even talked about that our specialists had a clean sweep of the SEC all SEC first team, right? In media days, I believe. So serious question, Brett Thorson, like good to go? Do we know anything? He's ready?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Okay. Need the thunder from down under. Sorry.
The booming onion. We need him
The
back.
boom.
Texas
That's right.
Texas fans are punching air
Oh my
um,
gosh.
when you talk about special teams because all they mention every time you show them a Georgia SC championship ring, they mention their field goal kicker missing field goals. Would have won if our kicker had missed field goal. I'm like, well, you don't have a clean sweep of the first team All SEC special teams.
That's right.
They blew all their Lamborghini money on other players. They didn't have enough. They didn't have enough to buy a good kicker.
The
Oh
the
boy.
the regular season game was on SEC Network last night, and there wasn't really much on TV. I threw the game on, had it on, and like Lily walked into the room and she looked at the TV and she goes, "Oh, cool! This is from the first time we beat them last year." I was like, "Yes."
Good times.
Hunter down there on the Gulf. So I know it's Ole Miss and LSU, but and obviously Ole Miss and Mississippi State. But does Texas ever get brought up in
No,
conversation? Nobody
no. I
cares.
mean, everybody just kind of hates them.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's the extent of their
Well,
because
that's here too, for what it's worth.
yeah. I mean, LSU. We're pretty inundated with LSU fans here where we're at. More,
Mhm.
I'd say that's the majority. Um, and it's a border state for LSU, and they really don't like them. So,
So let's maybe pivot a little bit and talk about like SEC type preview, your opinions, because I'm curious, particularly from you, Hunter, being down there. Like, does anybody else feel like the vibes are incredibly high for LSU right now? Because I feel like I keep seeing LSU mentioned in the top 3, 4 teams in the SEC, and I'm just looking at everything like, why?
mhm.
I'm
I
not
don't
feel I'm not
know.
feeling it.
I don't know as far as on field stuff, but I can tell you this: where I live specifically in Ocean Springs, the vibes are very high around a hire that LSU just made.
Mhm.
Uh, Kelvin Bolden
Yep.
from Ole
Ah,
Miss. He's an
okay.
Ocean Springs alum, and he's a pretty good friend, and he he's going to be a difference maker recruiting for LSU. But you saw like immediately after his hire, they won a couple big time recruiting battles, and he
Mhm.
was kind of Lane Kiffin's ace in the hole up in Oxford. So
Hmm.
vibes are high here specifically because there's a lot of LSU fans, and now they've got their hometown guy who's going to be. I think he's going to be the assistant general manager, is what his title is. It's kind of something they're
Oh,
going.
right.
Yeah, so he's just kind of going to have his hands in everything, and he's a good guy, and he knows what he's doing. So
Hmm.
Yeah,
Can we
all
just talk about
the
can we
titles are
just talk
getting
about
so
the
weird.
get off my lawn moment with the general managers for freaking college football?
It
It
is
ain't.
wild.
mm,
I'll tell you what. It's not going back. Might as well embrace it.
Well, it's like the the SEC shorts that came out today was pretty
Hmm.
was pretty good.
Yeah.
uh,
I'm
yeah,
curious. I mean, Georgia. I think Georgia. The way that Georgia operates is different. Kirby, intentionally, like Georgia has. I'll say this. Georgia has a role that is a similar role to a general manager and assistant general manager, and but Kirby, he's not going to call it that or structure it that way because of you know the way that he is kind of the Bill Belichick when Belichick was the head coach and whatever president of football operation. It's like in New England, that's kind of the Kirby Smart model. Um, but
It's his
but general
program.
man, yeah, but general managers. I mean, Georgia Georgia runs all these people calling them general managers. Georgia runs a similar playbook. They just don't call it a general manager. But that is coming, especially now with revenue share, with NIL deals being subjected to approval through this portal and all this stuff, or this platform that Deloitte has created, the College Sports Commission, and all this stuff. Like
yeah.
you're going to have somebody that is like vetting those, reviewing those, managing budgets, and all that stuff to like actually like just that part of it. Um, and so you're going to see, you know, a general manager type, just because you're having contracts and all that other stuff that's coming too.
Yeah, I mean, the
I
College
can't
Sports
wait.
Commission has already sent out a letter to a bunch of schools basically saying like, hey, like, no, you can't operate that way. So
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
the whole like collect like you it has to be an actual like an NIL deal where the player is providing some sort of business value back to
Hmm.
the business. So
I was just about
apparently
to
those that
say,
aren't that are going to get denied. That's what they're saying.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to the first lawsuit that's going to bring in all this discovery, that's going to bring in all of the process that Deloitte is using to deny these things or to approve them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have clearinghouse scandals in the future.
I mean, you hope it
And
goes that way. I think Discovery could absolutely go the other way. Discovery could
look,
go the other way
not
where it's like, yeah, they're like, no, we looked at it. There was no, where's the business value? And then they go and like dig it up. It's like, oh, this guy actually just was just going to write a check for
Yeah.
nothing.
yeah. And
Right.
I don't want to get us totally off the rails here, but it's kind of related. It's something
Welcome to the
I
show,
just
Hunter.
I encountered it today. Like I was talking to some of my new coaches today about it because we all saw it on social media. One of the local high schools down here was like it's kind of a thing at the beginning of the year. They're like posting their new coaches or and some of their old coaches and their what they're going to be coaching or whatever. And one of the high schools that I won't name posted on their Twitter, Facebook that they hired a recruiting coordinator, not a recruiting coordinator to help recruiting college, like they're recruiting to come to their high school coordinator. And they had to delete it and take it down. And then they
That's
put it back up. The same guy they like put running back, assistant running backs coach or something like that.
It was the internal memo that got
brother,
posted.
brother. Let me tell you about Georgia high school football. Let me tell you about Buford. Let me tell you about Grayson. Let me tell you about Gainesville now with that they hired the guy who was the successor to Rush Propst down in Hoover. Hired him in Gainesville, and he comes up there and like starts raising all this money, and all of a sudden all these kids are moving into the district, and like I mean, and Georgia now has implemented some transfer policy for high schools for high school sports, basically saying like essentially you have to have some kind of approval, or so it has to be like vetted if you transfer into a district. You have to have some process, or they will, or you'll be ineligible to play
Mm-hmm.
for that year. You have to sit out a year.
Yeah, we have the
Because
same
I've
thing in
yeah,
Mississippi.
yeah, because you had
Can't just
so
move anymore. Like, oh,
mm-hmm,
I live with my grandma in the other town. Like
mm-hmm,
that doesn't work anymore.
yeah, because you've had so many of these schools, and it's interesting because like I mean, why not? Like if you're, I mean, have y'all seen this? This is totally off the rails, but the stadium, like Buford High School, just built a college football stadium in the state of Georgia, and I know they have them in Texas high school football. I know it's different, but I mean they just gazillion dollars on basically a college football stadium, and you have guys like Dylan Raiola. Was a good example who moved from
Mhm.
Arizona to moved to Georgia, but he didn't move. He moved to Buford High School. It's like, okay, yeah, you transferred
Hmm.
from out of state to come play
Yeah.
at Buford. So,
And I don't want to get like crazy with this because y'all don't know a whole lot about the education thing. You don't work in it like I do, but it's kind of you're seeing right now high schools are going with the Alabama model when they hired Nick Saban.
mm-hmm,
Like football brings in kids, and like it's a scary time in education when you're talking, especially if you're like a smaller district where you're
mm-hmm,
talking about having to consolidate and maybe merge smaller districts because enrollment's going to go down. People are trying, especially this current presidential administration is all about having school choice and stuff like
mm-hmm,
that. Like you're getting to a point where public education is going to be influenced by sports. Do you have a good
mm-hmm,
football team? I want to go to that school.
Mhm.
I want to move there and go to that school. It's kind of that same blueprint that Alabama went with when they hired Nick Saban, and then their out of state enrollment like quadrupled or whatever, and people just started wanting to go there because of football, but for academics. And you're seeing that a lot around here now.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
S- speaking of get off my lawn moments, what's going on with the rules?
Yeah. So
What rules?
So there's like
The
are you
rules
talking
changes
the
to
defensive
the
line,
game.
the defensive line
That is the most
rule.
egregious
So
one.
there's like it. Well, there's like a delay of game if
Mhm.
They can't shift.
but now
They
there's some
they
kind of
can shift.
clarification. You can
No, so you can
shift.
shift. You can
Yeah.
shift. So there's this thing. So you've seen it under Kirby Smart for years called stimming. And it's
Yeah.
basically where defensive line, let's say you line up in, I'll just say instead of gaps, I'll just say like left, you line up on the left shoulder of the tackle, and then they'll shift to like the right shoulder. And what they're doing is they're just moving into different gaps and giving a defensive front. Kirby Smart, you see it do all the time. And what's happened is with this stemming, you've seen false starts go up. And part of the reason that you've seen false starts go up is because it's tricky, but you'll see like, let's say there are 4 defensive linemen, you'll see 3 of them move and stem. The 4th one will flinch, like he's
Mhm.
going to move, but he doesn't move. And what the officials have said is that 4th guy who's flinching, when they do it in unison, so it's like coordinated. So when the defenders all shift, this guy just kind of like does this, like he's going to shift, but he doesn't. And that's been drawing a lot of false starts, those types of movements. So what they've said is that if you do that, if it's deemed pre-snap action that's abrupt and coordinated, so meaning 3 guys shift, it's 3 guys stem, and 1 guy doesn't, but that guy flinches. If the offensive line jumps off and false starts, then that will now be a penalty, could be deemed a penalty on the defense because it's abrupt coordinated movement. And
So
and,
clarifying question.
mhm,
So if the 3 guys shift
mhm,
and the 4th guy stays still,
mhm.
but somebody else jumps off sides, they're not going to call that penalty. Is that what I'm
That's
hearing?
what's tricky, right? Is like technically under the rule that would not be a penalty. But if the
Oof.
referee deems that the movement was pre-snap action, not stemming or not a shift, if they did something else that he deemed was as part of, let's say, I don't know, let's say they kind of move their shoulders before they lift their hand or something. I mean, it's very subjective. That's the issue.
So
And Kirby Smart said
subjective.
that he's like, you're gonna have to define what abrupt like movement is.
Yeah, you
Um,
lost me where you said referee deems it.
yeah,
That's what
that's the
worries
issue.
me.
The issue is it is there's no real clarification, that they've shown a couple of like video examples, but there's no real like, this is the definition of abrupt movement or coordinated pre-snap action. So it's going to be a problem because like it's going to be subjective at times. There's going to be a situation where maybe a guy lines up and he just like goes, literally just goes to shift. My issue with all of this, you guys remember, I mean, there was a time in football where you could do a hard count, right? And a defender could like, in some cases, even like jump, there was like the neutral zone, right? Like you could even
Mhm.
like jump, but if the offensive line didn't move and you like snap the ball, like the offensive line they were taught to not move. No matter what the defense does, you don't move
Yeah.
because you know the snap count. And so the offensive line already has an advantage. They know the snap count. So that's one advantage. The offense can also go in motion themselves, right? So you can do so there's movement over there. They have an advantage. Um, and now you're saying like if a quarterback comes up and let's say a quarterback does a hard count, right? And let's say the hard count, let's say a defender is down on one hand in a stance and the defender flinches during the hard count. And the offensive lineman, if he jumps off, is that on, the guy flinched because there was a hard count, but is that now a defensive penalty?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Because you see that all the time with hard counts. You see guys that kind of flinch, right? Because it's like quarterback is like intentionally trying to draw him off. Well, if he does that and offensive line moves, is that now a loophole that says, hey, if they flinch, just jump off because then it's going to be abrupt movement on the defense and that'll get us a first down.
That's
Yeah.
what I've been
Now we're
worried
talking
about
about
is
that unintended gray area
Because
where let's take
that's the
advantage of this.
yeah, that's a like Lane Kiffin is
Hmm.
going to kill that, right? Like Lane
I was
Kiffin's going to
about to
say
say
go
it.
hard count.
He's going to be the
He's
one
going
to
to
do
say he's
it.
going to say go hard count. If they flinch, jump off, like fire off in your stance, because then he'll say nope, that was pre snap coordinated movement on the defense. that's the gray area for me. And that's why I think it's just ridiculous, because the offense already has all the advantages. The snap count, you can go in motion, everything. And
Lane
now you're
Kiffin's going
also
to be the
saying,
guy
yeah,
that tells the press he's going to do it. Like the Monday before they play Georgia, like, I'm going to do it against Georgia. I'm going to tell him that he's going to be that guy, like stirring the pot.
Yeah.
Is it reviewable?
I have no idea.
I
That's a
would
good
guess
question.
no.
I would guess not.
I would guess not as well.
Typically false starts and offsides and stuff like that are not reviewable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My issue with it is like the stemming is one part of it, but then there's another element that's like the linebackers coming up to blitz. Like, is that's also something that's been in the game for forever as well. Like, are you going to see that become part of this? Because like I think one of the video examples was like a combo. Like they had the stemming on I think it was either against Texas or Tennessee. I can't remember which one, but they were the linebackers came up as the stem was happening, and it created an overwhelming like presence on the offensive line that was very clearly like drawn up that way. Like that's the kind of stuff that I want to see like stick around for sure and not be impacted by this stupid rule.
Yeah, and my guess is, that's a good example of like something that could very well be if the stem happens, the linebackers come up at the same time,
or a safety comes in the
all
box
the way to the line of scrimmage and like stops, and the offensive lineman jumps off for a false start, then that could now be a defensive penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
What other get off my lawn things should we be looking at, Jim? You're usually the one that is keeping me abreast of these rule changes.
Yeah, that actually was the one that I wanted to bring up. My question is like year 2 of this divisionless SEC. Last year, the offseason talk that we kept having was like, man, is it better to finish third? Is third the spot you want to be in? And so now we've seen it play out. What do you guys think now? Are you like doubling down now? Like
who
third
won
is
the
best?
national championship?
Yeah, I know.
Where did they finish in their conference?
Yeah. I like totally devastated in Ohio State.
Who played in SEC the two Big Ten and SEC champion, the major power conferences, in my opinion, were first round exits, Oregon and Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, and Arizona State was even, it's like Arizona State was a first round exit. It's like and Boise State too. I mean, I guess, whatever, but like the teams that won, that played in that game, I guess Texas is the exception, but like,
well, but even then they didn't make the championship game.
Yeah, and they had to go to overtime to beat Arizona State. It's like you did like,
yeah.
There was nothing that showed me that there's a benefit to playing in the SEC championship game last year, especially when
Josh
I saw
is listening to this right now. He's like, "Are you not entertained?"
Josh, I love you, dog stats, but dude, go watch those home playoff games and tell me that it was better for Georgia to play in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl versus Notre Dame than playing, Clemson or somebody else in Athens that first weekend.
Josh will be the first one to tell you to play college games on college campuses.
Correct. And so you won an SEC championship. But again, in my opinion, it would have been better. It would have been better for Georgia to turn around and play SMU or play Clemson again in Athens and give Gunnar Stockton like that game, a home game in Athens, your environment, etc. Going into the playoffs, like give him that game to go out and be his first career start, and give the team that game to be the game to like get the wheels in motion for college football playoff. I don't think Georgia was good enough to win the whole thing last year, but I definitely think it hurt more than helped for them to sit around for a few weeks and then go play in New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, and Notre Dame got Indiana at home, and
if you look at the time, between Ohio State is the best example. But if you look at the time, if you did not play, if first of all, everybody says, well, if you win your conference, then you get a bye. Every team that didn't play in that game got a bye.
Yeah.
The weekend of the conference championship game. If you didn't play in conference championship game, that was your bye week.
Yep.
So you already have a bye. Number two, if you look at the time frame between Ohio State's last game and their first playoff game and Georgia's the SEC championship game and the first playoff game, it was like 2 or 3 more days. Like you literally got you got a bye, but you literally, it was like 2 or 3 more days of rest that you got. It wasn't,
Yeah.
it's like you're getting an extra 2 weeks or something. And so it's, in my opinion, it feels much better to finish third, to not play in that.
It's so weird.
I think Kirby's smart. It'll be interesting, right? If this happens again, if Georgia, you fight your way through the season, you get to that game, what do you do? If you know that you're going to be, because Kirby Smart said he ran the fake punt with Drew Bobo, and they asked him about it in the post game. And what was his comment? Do you guys remember? He said, "It's easy to call it when you know you're going to be in the playoff either way."
Yeah.
He says it's a lot easier to call it when you know you're going to be in either way. So when you think about this year, and he knows he got his starting quarterback knocked out last year, does that change the way you manage that game? Does that change the personnel that you put on the field? Does that change the way that you approach that game, knowing that you lost your starting quarterback in the trying to win the previous one?
JP,
especially if you're going against
vindicated.
somebody you've already played, I think.
Mm-hmm. Especially against Texas. You already beat Texas. You're in the college football playoff either way. And anyway.
Yeah. What were you saying, Jim?
I was saying you feel vindicated because you were like, we should rest the starters against Texas last December. I was like, you're crazy.
I don't think that we will ever see a world where Kirby doesn't throw the ones out there. However, he should treat it like a G-Day game, but I don't think that he'll ever do it.
No, they're going to change the format before that happens.
Yeah, but I will say this year, though, think about it, guys. Just think about it. If you go into that game and let's say you go into that game and you're a little banged up, but you're 11-1, or 12-0, and you're probably playing a team. Maybe Alabama or Texas. Maybe you might get LSU. I don't know. Somebody else could pop up there, but more than likely you'll probably be playing a team that you've already played. Texas or Alabama, it's
at least this season.
Yeah. You never know, but what do you do? You're 11-1, you're 12-0, you're, 5 or 6 in the country. Worst case scenario, you lose that game and you host a playoff game. Do you, I agree with you, Jim. I don't think Kirby's smart. He doesn't think that way because he's a process person, right? So it's
the mentality
doing that throws your whole process off. And you see it. You also see it happen in the NFL. I think there's a lot of statistics and data that show, the teams that rest their starters, before the playoff weekend, that because they're already in. It's a lot of them don't have much success in the playoff. But
they've also taken actions to try to correct that too.
It's a question that will be debated for sure.
Yeah. I'm with you. And also think about all the chaos it took for us to even get to that game last year, right? At 10-2, and then we had that crazy Saturday where all hell broke loose, and we ended up in there, because it looked like we were gonna kind of end up in that 3rd to 4th range, and we were gonna achieve that, and then some people couldn't handle their business that one weekend, but. Anyway, okay. No, I'm with you. I saw one of those projected conference finish things today from somebody, and it had Georgia 3rd, and I was like, oh, I think I'd be okay with that. It's a tough schedule.
Great home schedule.
We get a great home schedule. We've got that home. We got to protect that home win streak. So
I'm really excited to see Meg in UGA gear.
She was wearing a Georgia shirt today. I was like, "Are you wearing that because I'm going on the podcast?" She was like, "Maybe."
We see you, Meg the Jones.
Love it. All right, JP, you got anything else to round us out? That was my.
I don't know. We haven't talked about. We talked about the Bourbon Social Club, but has anybody had any good bourbon? John, what's new on the block right now, cocktail wise?
Um, what have I had that's good? You guys heard of Dark Arts Whiskey House?
Mm-mm.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen it too.
yeah, downtown Lexington, Kentucky. It's a very there's Carter. No, Dark Arts is probably the one of the better ones I've had recently. Um, it's I guess a relatively new um whiskey project there in Kentucky.
Yeah, I like
But
that one.
mhm.
Okay, when I couldn't see Carter earlier, I thought Hunter's audio had gotten messed up. When I heard Carter.
Yeah, I like that one. It gives you a real burn when it slides down your throat,
There we go.
That Kentucky one,
Bro.
Love that Kentucky burn.
I don't know where did that accent come from? What does
It's
that mean?
amazing.
It's his I'm talking deep. I'm talking
Okay.
deep.
Okay.
It's my Georgia Southern Conference champs.
All right, you're out of here.
Sorry, Carter.
Sorry, Carter, you're gone.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have anything new. I don't have anything new.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't have
Carter
anything
wants to make sure that you guys know that he shot an 89 at Cobblestone the other day.
Sorry, Card.
He missed the golf. He wasn't here for the golf talk.
Yeah, he missed the golf talk. Yeah, that was earlier, Carter. Keep up.
Sorry, Carter, you missed it.
Cool. Yeah, I think I was kind of perusing the listener questions. Honestly, I think we talked through most of it. Most of it was a lot of 7 and 5 jokes. So
I like Fletcher's question. Did you see that?
it was like, would you rather would you rather have a mild tree nut allergy or non-celiac gluten sensitivity?
I don't know how to answer that question.
A
But
mild
it seems like
peanuts?
a
Mild
mild
tree nut
tree
allergy.
nut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Kim has that.
Well,
Kim has the
I mean-
non-celiac gluten sensitivity.
I was about to say, I actually have that also.
But
Uh-oh.
but let's be honest, guys. If you're over a certain age, if you're like into your like pushing your mid 40s, like some of us on the show, you have a non-celiac gluten sensitivity anyway. Like, and you probably are pushing a mild tree nut allergy too. Like, I think like you reach a certain age and it's like, okay, all the stuff I made fun of or whatever, I'm experiencing right now. And sometimes you can just manage it with, with Allegra and Tums, but sometimes it's like, all right, well, I guess this is who I am now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think Fletcher, I think I have them both as well. If I had to pick though, I think it would definitely be, I would go with the gluten situation because I just feel like tree nuts are just so they're just everywhere. It's like, dude, if you have to care about, it's like, oh, this thing was packaged in a facility that with tree nuts. It's like, it's just tree nuts are everywhere. And also I haven't heard, I mean, I know could be very wrong. So please don't, please, I apologize in advance if this has happened, but I haven't heard of anybody like dying from gluten. Like he's like, like feels like tree nut allergies. It feels like those are in the group that depending on the severity, they could probably kill you. I feel like gluten sensitivities are not at the level of like, oh, if I eat gluten, I could potentially like die. Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, I would
Sounds
say
right.
tree nuts. Tree nuts would be my vote as well.
mhm.
All right. Well, we can't mention Fletcher and answer his question without saying shout out Asa Newell, our newest Atlanta Hawk. So
Our newest Atlanta Hawk. the UGA basketball minute.
UGA basketball minute. UGA basketball mention. We got that in Fletcher.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, if
What
but
I was gonna say what game are you guys most excited about from a tailgate perspective? Texas or Alabama?
Marshall.
I'll-
Just for the next one. Go for it, Hunter.
Hey, Alabama.
but last time there was a late kickoff with a big team like that, things just got weird. I feel like every time there's a late kickoff like that, things just kind of get weird. So
Hey, we've exercised demons with them in the past away from home. We're gonna exercise some demons at home.
I'm gonna go a totally different direction. I'm excited for Texas because it's in November. And if you're gonna have a night game tailgate, I mean September, I know it's the end of September, but it's so hot, man. It's like some bad things can happen when
I'm
you're
thinking like last
tailgating
time
all day in that
Notre
heat.
Dame comes
And
to mind when I think about the
yes,
situation that Alabama's
it
going to
was so
be.
hot.
And like I was
Yeah, it
walking
was
into the
so hot.
stadium and there were people like passed out on the ground.
Oh,
Like,
dude. Yep. Notre Dame. I was actually I have a cousin that's a good bit younger than me. Was a student at Georgia, and my aunt, they set up a big tailgate with a DJ and all this stuff, and there was legitimately like people were passing out at the tailgate for Notre Dame. So I just want some cool weather, so I'm gonna go with Texas for that reason.
That makes sense. My only twist I'll add, and I think Hug Dog was talking about this the other day. Alabama, you do have the Ryder Cup going on that
Mm.
weekend as well, so you can have a little Ryder Cup at the tailgate. It'll be wrapped up for the day by the time you get the late kickoff. So that will be a good day.
Well, it depends on who's on that Ryder Cup team,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I don't want to sit there and waste my booze on Patrick Reed all day. It's
Hey,
like
you
I
can
gotta
always
save
change the
him.
channel.
I gotta save him for Alabama. I can't be booing Patrick Reed all day. So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Good times.
Love to hope Keegan Bradley makes a good team.
a good opportunity for Hug Dog to make sure he doesn't double logo. He could throw some golf gear in there.
True.
He'll definitely have a Ryder Cup logo on.
Sweet. Nice. All right, well, boys, always a good time to pull the crew together for a nice off-season episode. And we got another Ole Miss game again this season, Hunter. So hope to hear from you again
well,
as well.
we'll just remember, boys, get your reps,
That's right.
stay prepared. Pressure is a privilege.
Hey, speaking of seems like the new slogan is what was it? Fire, passion, and what
Those
was it,
are
Jim?
passion, fire, and energy
Passion, fire, energy.
are
Yep.
new DNA traits. That is not a slogan. He has added those to toughness, composure, resilience,
Resiliency.
Connection.
passion, fire, connection, passion, fire, and energy.
Okay.
Those are added onto the wall. Those are not that's not the new assume nothing or better never rest or that's literally they added them to the DNA traits.
Okay.
I gotta
As
say, I was looking at your shirt, John. I wanted to say something. Pressure is a privilege is actually my email signature. I was emailing some teachers just now when we were on here, and it popped up. And these teachers probably think I'm crazy because, like, I have my email signatures like Hunter Jones, assistant principal, and then at the bottom in like really big letters it says "Pressure is a privilege, Kirby Smart." They're probably like, "Who is this guy?"
pressure is a
AP
privilege.
Jones off the top rope.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Good
All right.
times.
All right, boys. Good times as always. JP, see us out.
Go dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go dogs.